Welcome, everybody, to another weekly episode of Marked Out Radio. We are the premier podcast focused on the hobby of collecting autographs and photo ops from celebrities. We talk about autograph conventions, on-the-street encounters, and everything else about the hobby. I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
And this is episode 95, our 95th weekly episode, as we speed headfirst towards episode 100. Which is very exciting. And so there was, aside from Chiller Theater, which we'll get to after the break, there was a lot going on the Marked Out autograph collecting community on Facebook this week.
As always.
So the big news is mega collector Jason Bullock, who was the subject of a little bit of discussion in our Steel City report. And obviously there was some shenanigans with people, mocking Steve Class 316 for, wheeling him around at Steel City Con and whatnot. And I guess there was a little bit of mockery of Steve's sort of morbid proclamation that might be Jason's last con. As it turns out, it was Jason's last con, and we are sad to report that mega collector Jason Bullock has died.
Yeah, Class was right. I mean, I guess he was just echoing what the doctors said, as he said in the video. It's sad. I don't want to look at it with any judgment, because I don't think there is any judgment to pass. It's just kind of sobering to think about that. The idea that like what we do and what anyone does in life eventually comes to an end, and it just begs the question. And not to go super depressing here, but like, when do you sort of bow out of the con game or the signing game or the collecting game, or do you never? Did Jason live life as a collector the right way? That he went out, had one last show, had fun with it. Like the idea that he wasn't going to be around to sort of enjoy what he got, if any of us enjoy what we get while we're living, even like, should that matter? Was he sort of not coming to grips with his mortality, and he was just wasting time like maybe we all do for all these years doing this? Or was he right, and you just do it until you can't anymore, and as long as it brings you joy, you keep rocking? I don't know.
So it's interesting because Steve also posted the other day, this was maybe 2 or 3 days ago, that Jason actually did one last airport meet, that he met Andy Serkis from Lord of the Rings in the airport. And that was, Andy stopped and signed for him. And, it's actually kind of wild that, basically 48 hours before his death, Jason was at the airport getting an autograph from Andy Serkis. And you're right to think about, like, as we amass these things, but this goes for anyone, not just in our world, but in any of these worlds, as people amass stuff. Yeah, I was joking at the con. I can't remember with whom. Might have been Vinny. I don't remember. At Chiller, I quoted a line from Fight Club. And I said, we spend our lives working jobs we hate to buy shit we don't need, right? And it's really interesting when you look at the world through that lens. And there is clearly, for those of us in the hobby, a dopamine hit when we get an autograph, when we get a photo op. But there is a question about the sustainability of, if this is the thing that defines you, then at the end of the day, if you're leaving behind a pile of 8x10s in an empty apartment, there's something just so incredibly depressing about that it's hard to put into words.
Yeah. I don't think in and of itself the 8x10s in the apartment are... I don't think that's really the depressing part. I think it's the idea that you have to have a balance in life. And I think whether it was a set of golf clubs or, bowling balls or your guns, if you went hunting or whatever you did in your life, whether it was autographs or something else, eventually it's all going to be left behind unless you like clear everything out before you go and you're like ready to go with nothing left behind. It's just the idea that in this hobby, and I don't know, chicken or the egg. I'm not sure if the hobby sort of pushes people to having this imbalanced lives that don't have some of the more stereotypical benchmarks like family, things like that, or if it's just that the people that are drawn to this hobby they just lack certain skills to sort of have that, or just opportunity or luck or whatever. I really don't know. It makes you think, and I think, like you said, it's, and I don't want to, just because Jason passed, I don't want to act like he's any less, deranged than any of us. So I'm sure what he did lacked logic and all the things that our actions do. But him being at an airport 3 days before he died, him being at a convention 3 weeks before he died, shows that I think for a lot of us, when we act like, oh, I just got to finish these 7 projects, I just got to get this piece so I can hang it on my wall, I think it really is just a dopamine hit or a drug hit or whatever you want to call it. It's really just like the chase of that rush. And that's what he was doing. He was chasing that feeling. And it wasn't about the stuff he was getting, because he wasn't going to be around to have it. And like you said, the apartment with the 8x10s in it, a vendor passed away a couple months ago. And I don't want to say the name, because I don't want it to seem like I'm poking fun, because I'm absolutely not. But a vendor passed away several months ago, and I've noticed now that his company account, is being operated by his daughter, who is now left with selling his inventory / collection. And I saw, like, on the live sale, I went on for a couple minutes after it ended. I was just scrolling through, jumping through the time to see, like, what they were selling, how it was priced out, just, how it was going from someone who didn't really know the hobby very well, or the business. And you have this girl who's like 20 years old, who's then left, like, he dealt a lot with, like, photo shoot worn bikinis and ring worn gear from women. So she's, like, holding up these bikinis and stuff, like selling these, like, ring worn bikinis or whatever worn bikinis. And it kind of makes you wonder, did the vendor think that his daughter or his family in general would have to do this? Like, are we preparing for the inevitable? Are we situating and setting our families up in a way that they can, that you're not sitting on Facebook Live? Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I mean, I don't think that was on her bingo card, 2 years ago. I'm going to be sitting on Facebook Live selling old bikinis from other people. That's kind of not common.
I think the more important point, and this is one that you actively resist this all the time, is that you need to set your family up to be able to sell your stuff, which means categorizing it, cataloging it, organizing it, getting it stickered so that people can sell it easily. Does the passing of Jason and do these conversations, do they move the needle with you, like, internally at all on the urgency to do these things?
I think it should, but deep down, I just feel like we have more time and we don't have to really worry about that now, which I know is flawed thinking. Now is the time, if for no other reason than you get show pricing on the stuff you certify. Forget the impermanence of life and you never know when. It's the idea that you could get it done at its absolute cheapest. To do everything later on is a nightmare.
But it's not only the stickering was a part of it, but it's also the cataloging and categorizing.
Well, yes, the cataloging and categorizing, I am, for my own livability, I'm now more committed to than ever. Stickering and stuff like that, I'll still be, I'm sure, not fully on board with.
So yeah, I mean, it's funny because I would say most of the time when I get the opportunity to sticker, I just do it. I don't like it, but I just do it, knowing that it's of a benefit. I mean, even a part of me is like, what do I care for? And then, like, worrying about other people selling the stuff, if I'm dead, I won't know anyway. It doesn't matter. But there is that idea that even if you're not dead, even if you're like you fall ill or something, and you need you need people to sell your stuff for you. If you need to raise money when you're in the hospital or something like that, like, there's lots of reasons to get this stuff taken care of so that it can be properly sold by someone in a pinch, and we see this now, whether it's, the on these Facebook Lives that, I'm sorry, it's actually agonizing to watch. That I saw clips of it. It's not pleasant to watch. It's agonizing to watch, actually. And thinking about, we were joking at the Sharpie social with Steve, who gets Jason's stuff. He has no children. Who inherits this collection? And on one level, thinking about that, on one level, it's easy, right? You want your family to get it because ostensibly, that's who you want to get your stuff. On the other hand, your family may not want to deal with that. And maybe the answer is for it to go to a collector who could then, pay them a fair price for it, or sell pieces of it and then keep other people. I don't know exactly, but I wouldn't trust my family to properly price and sell my stuff. They're going to get nickels on the dollar if they just put it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think anyone I know out of the hobby would have any ability to really move anything. We're kind of blessed in the sense the marked out brand, like the stuff I sell on our eBay account, I'll get pricing I see other sellers on eBay are getting without, with COA. I'll have a print without COA with our name and our proof shots and everything else. And we'll get around the same price because I think because people are confident that what they're buying is real and it's unique prints and they want it. But when I'm, 70 years from now, hopefully, when we're not around to do this or sell this, like who the hell's going to know or care who we are? The reputation sort of goes along with us. So I agree with you that you need something, but I mean, even stickered and categorized, it's still a lot of work. And I don't know,
right?
if
But at least it's helping out. And I let's just say someone came along and wanted to buy it all in bulk. If it's all in a spreadsheet, they could do that. If it's in piles, or in random boxes, or nothing's categorized, it becomes impossible to deal with and manage. And then it winds up being wholesaled off really quickly. I mean, that's something that we haven't talked about. Like, I imagine there is a whole business model of people buying collections at wholesale from people who are dead. This kind of stuff, I mean, you need to have a lot of seed money to do that kind of thing. So we haven't really looked into it, but I suspect there's a lot of money in that.
Yeah. I was just thinking now that's the thing. Like, what's the motivation for like we in theory could have approached Jason at Steel City and talked about his collection and made him an offer, but like, what would his motivation have been? So he would have died with a couple grand in the bank instead of a couple 8x10s in the house. Or maybe there was a family member or someone or a charity or something that he would have been happy to say, all right, you donate X amount to this charity and I'll give you everything I have because I don't need it. Like maybe there was sort of not really a vulture, but slightly vulturous move we could have made. But like you said, to do that as like an actual thing, you need seed money. You need also space. You have to then we couldn't sell it with the same, with the same authenticity claims we do now, where we were in the room and we know it's real. Then it becomes we're like any other reseller where we're sort of using our own eye and judgment and TPA, and all that, where errors and mistakes happen. No mistakes happen with our current business model because we know it's all from us. That changes things a lot. But it's fascinating. And if there aren't people doing that, I think there probably will be now after you've spoken it into existence because it makes sense.
I'm pretty sure there are the estate hunters that do this, but I think in this hobby, it's challenging to find stuff and be confident that it's real, or buying stuff that was not stickered and then having to lay out thousands of dollars to get it certified, and it's stressful.
Yeah.
So it's one of the reasons why I believe, and I do believe, there's probably a product out there, a categorizing system or some kind of system that can be of use. For collectors to do this. I would love to, maybe go in on someone to create such a thing where you can easily, categorize or catalog your stuff electronically in a way that a family member can easily, see it and export that, database to someone in the future. I love how we're talking about a man's life, but really we're talking about things. But the truth of it is, I mean, there was no real motivation for him to get Andy Serkis's autograph in an airport, 72 hours before Jason's death. I mean, like he knew he was going to die, and he did that anyway. And that's just fascinating to me. He didn't spend time with his closest friends. He didn't watch his favorite movie. He didn't eat his favorite ice cream. You know what I mean? Like all those things I could imagine myself wanting to do. He met Andy Serkis at an airport.
Yeah. And I want to sort of point out us looking at this through the hobby eye is because I don't know Jason as a human being. And I think that that's the case with a lot of these like hobby relationships. We don't like there's people in this hobby, me more so than you, that I would consider like friend, that I talk to a lot about the hobby. I don't know what their father did for a living. I don't know what their kid's name is. I don't know their wife's name in some cases. Like we know each other sort of as people, and in Jason's case, we didn't know him at all as a person. He was just a guy at a show on a line that looked like he was struggling. And now, I mean, we see why he was struggling, and it just makes you, that's, I feel kind of, maybe a little ghoulish, a little too like science-y, that we're just focusing on the textbook type psychology stuff of it more than the fact that a man's life ended. But I don't know the man. I barely know the collector, but like I know of the collector, and that's all we can go on. And like you said, it's a little wild. But I think for a lot of people, these people, the airport and the convention, like if you went back to the classic sitcom Cheers, how many of those guys that would gather around that watering hole, if you told them this is your last day on Earth, that is going to be part of their day, if not their entire day. They want to be there. That's their place. Those are their people. That's home. And I think for a lot of the collectors, that airport terminal is home. That Monroeville Convention Center is home. That line for Kevin Nealon is home. That's what they know. That's what means something to them. And I don't know if that's sad and tragic, and that their lives just went astray, or if we're all a lot more like that than we want to acknowledge.
Probably some combination thereof, right?
Yeah, probably.
But moving on to more, I guess, interesting, or I mean, I don't know. It's just something to think about, because we were treating that, the situation with Jason in class with a little bit of humor, because to be fair, how are you supposed to react to this insanity?
If we cried, I mean, that wouldn't have. Yeah, you gotta laugh
No.
at the tragedy sometimes.
It's the whole thing was nuts. But anyway, on to other news. Tickets or photo ops and autographs for Fanatics Fest went up on sale. There were immediately complaints about the availability of certain things, as certain items were sold out before the on sale happened to the general public. I mean, there's a lot to say about this show. Pricing is just very, very high. It actually went up from last year, and it was already high last year. I don't know. I don't know what to do with Fanatics. I mean, you think I'm crazy, but I'm leaning towards not going at all. Only because I just don't think I would have fun.
I don't really think you're crazy. Because for me, it's so much, this show right now is so heavily sort of leaning on basketball. The basketball names I'm excited about. If you took those basketball names away, the WWE names I need, it's enough that it would get me in, I think. But when you start splitting everything up through multiple days, and you're talking like you're really going to go in one day for one name, one day for another name, it gets crazy. Of course, for me having 3 filled out days, I'm spending thousands, and I'm not sure if that's better or worse. I'd probably be better off coming in 3 days for 3 names and spend hundreds, or do what you're thinking of doing and spend nothing. But we're not going to get into it deep, because it's such a heavy show. We really got to just break it down for the hype episode when we get a little bit closer. Plus, I'm sure they're going to add stuff and change stuff, and who knows where we'll be. You may end up being in by the time it rolls around.
It's true, but I did not purchase anything. But I saw like the captain, for example, just kind of threw his hands up with disgust. But even names like Randy Orton were sold out, and like we know Randy Orton will have more tickets that go on sale. He's not actually sold out. So this whole strategy they do, I just don't understand it. I mean, can you make it make sense? Are you going to defend this insanity?
I would like to think it's not what I kind of think it is, which is initially they kind of like do a math equation of how much they can safely sell, and they sell it, and then they decide to like get a little dangerous, a little edgy, and they'd say, "Oh, let's sell a little bit more, we'll make it work, and we'll sell a little bit more, we'll make it work." Because that's what a lot of these things end up looking like when you see at the end. There's always that thing where like you have a couple names that leave before the entire line is complete, and things always seem slightly overbooked, less so than the last time when it was definitely oversold. But I can't really defend it. I don't know if it's fairness and equity for people to have different chances to get tickets, or it's just what I'm saying, that they're greedy and they want to keep eking out a little bit more. But it's a little frustrating for people. The captain seemed like he wanted to go, and now he's not. Although some of the names he was complaining about, I went in the queue the next day because a friend of mine had access for the VIP sale, so I got stuff that way. I had everything that way. But I went in on the regular queue just to see what was left for the sake of this show and having research. And some of the names Captain wanted were there when he was saying he wasn't going. So, I mean, he could have done something, I guess. But, I mean, he has a long trip. I'm not going to judge someone's, basis for making a trip.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of, when I saw that Randy Orton and Liv Morgan were sold out, and I'm like, that's it. I could have filled out a cart for other people, but then it's like, what am I doing? It doesn't, and I know for a fact they're gonna open up more spots for those two. So it just doesn't make any sense as a strategy, because I'm not interested in playing games with the dates and stuff like that. So screw them. I'm okay with not going at the end of the day. It's okay not to spend money at every single con on earth. I believe that. I know you're saying that that's tempting the combo gods when you say something like that, but I just find Fanatics as an entity very, very, very frustrating.
They are, but at the same time, they bring people in, and the accessibility that you get it comes with a price, but it's unprecedented.
I understand that, but let's face it, most of the lineup are retreads. Most of them. If there are a couple names that are big and that are unique, but there's a lot of retreads mixed in there. It's the WWE names. It's basically the same lineup for the past couple of years now. It's with some other ones thrown in. But there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of people who don't do it.
Well, yes, but let's also be fair. If you look at the last 3 WrestleMania cards, there's a lot of similarities. There's not a ton of turnover. The names like Roman and Brock who aren't doing it, I don't really. Well, Brock, you kind of know why. I guess it's probably the same reason for both of them. Not everyone can be bought and convinced to do these things. So what do? Are you going to say, well, forget Cody and Rhea this year? We're going to book R-Truth and shoot, I don't know.
No, but
someone random. No,
that's not what I was referring to. Convention mainstay Trish Stratus.
Oh yeah, real? That. I mean, I guess on a bit. I have no idea. I also imagine a lot of this Fanatic stuff. It ties into the Tommy Unger business model where they're hitting a lot of product backstage. So if they need stuff for the Fanatics website, they get it done here. So it's probably a little less cut and dry of just a meet and greet. But yeah, I don't know why Trish has to be there. There would be younger. Hell, Sol Ruka would have been nice to see there instead of Trish if I was fantasy booking this, but I'm not.
I mean, nothing's stopping you. But but anyway, yeah, it's a frustrating event, and I think people express their frustration. But at the end of the day, Fanatics is a company whose decisions will not be moved by public opinion. They're a multi-billion-dollar entity. WWE is a tiny fraction of their overall business, a tiny fraction. So there's a pros and cons to that, as we discussed, and we'll get more into detail closer to that event. And then there's a funny post on the board where Nikki spotted my mint green cart in the wild. Did you see that?
You mean our mint green cart?
No, it's not our. It's mine that you, for some reason, felt the need to appropriate.
That's fair.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, look, you are a beacon of just culture and convention living, because apparently it's spreading like syphilis all around the con scene. And I hope one day we walk into like a Javits Center for a Fanatics or a New York Comic Con and just see a sea of carts, all the same color.
Did you hear as we were walking around Chiller, there was that woman who was like, I should really get myself one of those. Did you hear that?
I did, and I told her, make sure you buy this color. It's the best color.
It's brutal. It's
Got to
absolutely
spread the
brutal.
gospel.
But yeah, it's a thing. It's amusing. But yeah, we're starting to see them out there in the wild now. So I guess get yours today. It is excellent, and it did very well in the rain yesterday too.
It did. Honestly, we should just buy a bunch. Someone said this yesterday, and
There's Ted.
yeah, Ted. We should just buy a bunch, slap some marked out stickers on them, and jack the price up and sell them to our loyal, devoted listeners. Actually, maybe we don't even jack the price up. We can sell them at cost with the marked out sticker. Just whatever, just add the cost of the sticker, and we'll be nice, and we'll just spread the green carts around. That might be the move. We can jack it up to non-listeners, and the listeners get a promo code that makes it like a fair price. Let's look into it.
I'm not sure what the demand for something like that is, but
I mean, I'm half kidding, but I think it would be funny.
There is a niche there waiting to be occupied, I think. So as far as the reports for this week, there are an absolute ton. There are a lot of events that went on all around the world. So we have you noticed we've been getting a lot of international reports now.
We're sweeping the globe. I like it. It's fun to see the international stuff.
So Rich from over in the UK, he was at a show. We got Dermot Mulroney, Bonnie Aarons, the Nun, multiple other folks with his report from over across the pond, which is awesome. Ari hit Lucky's show. Have you been to Lucky's show before?
I don't think I have. I don't think I have. I don't know why I haven't. They've been around forever. They run a good show, but I think a lot of the names they have are more like 80s and early 90s, and it's people I don't really feel a need to get. But they always look like they run a great event.
And it looks like mostly retired football players.
Yeah, and today was the 86 Mets lineup, but I don't really have a catch-all 86 Met project, and I didn't care to get
I have to imagine by now you have met the 86 Mets that you wanted to meet. I mean, they were around probably more than any other group.
Exactly.
Right?
Plus, keep in mind, I was born in 87. So, I mean, it's not like I have any real, fond memories of the 86 Mets. So, yeah.
Aside from the fact that it's the most famous roster they've ever had.
Yeah. So,
that's the appeal.
I've met the top, 8 or 9 that I've been interested in. But, there's bottom of the barrel guys that if I had a project, which I honestly should have started one since when I met all the big ones, and I didn't. So, it's whatever. I don't need everyone. So, that kind of keeps me out. But, yeah, it always looks good.
What else we got? C-Rat went to Vegas for WrestleMania. I mean, his report, I can't even begin to summarize it here. I don't even think we should try. It's a very, very comprehensive look at basically the entire week of WrestleMania. He met pretty much everyone on the roster, I think, pretty much. But it's really a report that needs to be actually, looked at and read itself.
Yeah. It's crazy. I'll make just 2 comments to if your little synopsis didn't get people to want to read it if they haven't already. He got Brock, which is crazy, and he got that photo with Cody by the ring with the WrestleMania entrance ramp behind them is imagine having a photo with Hulk or Warrior at WrestleMania 6. It's insane, absolutely ridiculously insane. And I ended up, as most things on the Facebook group have, I ended up blocking one guy who was just the usual stuff of, wow, you spent so much money, congratulations, just stupid stuff like that. And then I clicked on his thing as I normally do, and everything he ever posted, we deleted because it was not productive or just trolling. And then to make matters worse, his Facebook bio had the word troll in it. So he's he does this for sport. So he was blocked. I have no patience for that kind of thing, counting and watching what the next man is spending. We all spend like drunken sailors in this group. If you're going to poke fun at people for spending too much money, you're in the wrong group. Or the right group if you're a troll, but I mean, I'll block you.
Very fair. So yeah, you got to check out that report. Honestly, there were lots of people who did WrestleMania and WrestleCon activities, and these reports are so long and so complicated. I'm not going to sit here for an hour just reading them all. So, I mean, you can go and you can see reports by Zach, the little rat, and Vinny, and C-Rat and Finn, and Sal, and Mike, and Marcus, and Juan with his son, among others. There are so many people who made really cool, they all had unique experiences because there was so much to do in Vegas. Now, and what's funny is, I mean, what is stopping you from just doing Mania one year and just doing it for a week and doing all the things? Because you've never done it.
Well, the cost of being at Mania is high, very high.
But thinking like the little rat, he didn't even go to the show. He just did the other stuff.
Well, I don't really need. Who do I need? I mean, I need Oba. I wouldn't have gotten Brock. I need Oba. Not a couple. Javon, Soul, people like that. I'll get them eventually. There's not really enough I need.
But these guys don't need most of these people either. I mean, like someone like Lucas he doesn't need these people, or Mike. They don't need these people. They go. So it's just purely a matter of you have them, so you're not interested in that experience.
It's the same as my lack of desire to go to a concert. Like, to me, spending $50 to see WrestleMania live is $50 wasted. I could watch it at home. I already pay for ESPN Plus. I can sit on my couch, watch it, and be comfortable. I don't care to be live. It doesn't really do anything for me. So I'd be going for meet and greets. And I live in the Northeast, where I feel like there's not really anyone I'm not going to be able to get. And if I can't get someone, well, it's not probably the biggest someone, and I'll live. That's really what it comes down to. I just haven't started. If I went once or twice and it's became like a tradition, like it is for a lot of these guys, I think I'd be powerless to stop, because if there's one thing I like, and that's a good tradition. I love traditions. So thank God I never started it.
So it is funny, and I think this speaks to a lot actually about how you view the world. That to you, a tradition or upholding a tradition is more important than generating a new experience.
In some cases, yeah, I enjoy traditions. I enjoy all of that, but I mean, I like new experiences. But I feel like I sound very Class 316ish right here.
Yes, that's why I was leading you. I was leading you directly into that tiger pit. Yeah.
Listen, we all got a little Class 316 in us. Just hopefully not the gum disease part, but otherwise, we got something of them.
What else we got? Lots of people went to Chiller this weekend. The Little Rat and Mike Megason, Zach Chiara, among others. But again, we're going to give a full rundown of Chiller after the break. Zach Chiara also went to Bookends for Steve Sharippa, and there was actually kind of a funny little discussion there that I missed when he posted it, but I guess he got Steve to do an extra, and a lot of people remarked how Steve is apparently a big jerk at these kind of events that typically won't do anything. And they were surprised that Zach so easily got an extra out of him. But remember, Steve was part of that, evening with the Sopranos experience that you had. And so he was a pain in the neck then?
These show organizers were playing the bad guy of not letting you up there with items, but clearly the talent is guiding the ship. We always say that. So yeah, I had to leave my Sopranos book and everything. I couldn't get on the stage holding it. So there was no chance to try to hit him with anything. And yeah,
was Sharippa miserable? Like they said, he's miserable.
I mean, I got him once outside the garden. He was fine. He did it. He wasn't great about it, but I mean, I didn't expect a kiss. I asked him for a selfie. He said, sure. So I can't bash him in my own experiences, but he wasn't, Pastore was the more chatty one. Imperioli and Sharippa always sort of seemed kind of quiet and a little grumpy-ish.
No, yeah, Pastore is actually great. He's a really nice guy. Imperioli is my least favorite Sopranos character, so I will never meet him.
That is if he's ever added somewhere like at a Chiller,
I won't get him. I
understand, but I don't understand that. But okay,
he is like Triple H for me in a way.
Who you got?
I did, but I sold it all. But the thing was, that Christopher was a minor character. Then Michael Imperioli became the head writer of The Sopranos, and then Christopher became a major character. You know that was the sequence of events, right?
Sure, but here's my
So someone
question.
who is self-promoting like that, I find repulsive because Christopher was like so much less interesting than the other characters they could have highlighted. I thought anyway. It's always infuriating when someone gets additional power behind the scenes and they use that power to leverage themselves into more screen time. And besides, he's an insufferable douche who fancies himself like a serious actor. Have you ever listened to interviews with him?
I have.
He's insufferable. So I find him repulsive.
I'll say though, if you don't have James, you don't have a lot of them. You don't have Edie or Lorraine, so you don't really need to you're not chasing any sort of completion. If you had almost everyone, would you still pass on him?
Yes,
that's wild. I can't wrap my head around it, but I guess I respect your steadfastness on this matter because it seems crazy to me.
I don't get people I don't like most of the time, with very few exceptions. Occasionally, but with very few exceptions. That's just how it goes.
Listeners, if you can think of a time where Sean met someone he absolutely hates, drop it in the show notes on the show graphic post.
I just don't. That's how I roll. Let's see. Greg 2600 was all over. It's hard to track his path. He was like Carmen Sandiego all over New York and New Jersey. He got Rebecca De Mornay and Billy Squire. I thought it was pretty funny that that Class was chasing Rebecca De Mornay on Saturday night in the pouring rain on Broadway.
Couldn't remember what her name was.
He didn't know her name, but he knew Greg got her, and so that's why he had to go. And it was, Saturday night was horrific. Oh, God. There's no way she stopped, right? Did you find out if he got her?
I didn't, but I would have thought Class drowned if he didn't break the news about Jason. So I know he's alive. So I don't know if he got her. I'll have to reach out to him later just for shits and giggles and see how he did.
Bobby Sherry hit the GTSM show along with the Little Rat. They both got Chevy Chase. I do find it interesting. I've seen Chevy Chase so many times now. It's interesting when people haven't gotten him yet or haven't seen him yet because he's just so available. But I go to more shows than most. I think I just kind of realize that.
I just think Chevy Chase, it hit me the other day. I was thinking to when I first got Chevy Chase up at the Steiner headquarters in New Rochelle. And they brought him in for an evening with Chevy Chase, which is when they did the catered deli sandwiches and things like that. And I remember at that point he was impossible. He was Chevy was he was like Bill Murray kind of people didn't get him on the street. He didn't do cons. And when he did that, I remember I was nervous until I got the photo that it was actually going to happen because he always seemed so volatile and just whatever. That you just walk out at a moment's notice if you got pissed off. And now he's he's a Virgil. He's everywhere, and everyone's gotten him. And who the hell would have thought that would have happened 15 years ago?
Yeah. It's weird because his whole reputation was that he's antisocial, but yet he is quite available at these shows.
He is.
So we had another Wicked Ink Wednesday in the books. I'm not gonna lie, I slacked big time this week. I didn't post in either the Wicked Ink Wednesday or the Photo with Friday threads. I just forgot. I'm not gonna lie, I just forgot. But Wicked Ink Wednesday, there were a couple of really cool autographs. Jim Sloss, he had his Captain America shield signed by all three of the Avengers directors. Because we had discussed how vigorously one pursues a director in their collecting. Because you had started the ET laser disc, and I was scoffing at you, saying, "Well, you get Spielberg now," and you were basically saying you didn't have to get Spielberg because you don't get directors normally.
And I remarked also about how that if Mel came around somewhere again, Mel Gibson, that I would have likely another couple items for him since I'm a pretty big fan. And then I said, well, maybe not the Passion of the Christ would be a real deep cut because he only directed it. And as I just said, only directed it. I don't really think about directors like that. But that's kind of sick. I like how like he didn't give in to the temptation to get like other people on it. It's just the directors. It's nice. It's clean.
Mm.
It's unique. Very cool.
He didn't put Tito Santana on his WrestleMania 1 item, you know?
I regret that Tito. Tito screwed me. Tito really signed. I mean, I guess I screwed myself. This is like a Montreal all over again. I'm not sure who screwed me, but I was screwed. I don't know how I'm going to sort of make this work with T. I got to figure this out.
What else? Kent Clark posted a shot. It was a one of those cast promo shots of sorts of the entire Friends cast, and it was complete. How long would that have taken him, you think?
I don't know. I would say one lifetime for every season of Friends. So like what, 11 lifetimes, 12 lifetimes?
Well, we were actually, I find it, and look, it's an incredible piece, and there's probably so few out there that are authentic. But we were talking about how on pieces like that, the secondary market value probably doesn't reflect just how rare it is.
Yeah, the Friends cast is significantly harder to get than Seinfeld, which is kind of shocking when you think about Kramer. Michael Richards was a recluse for decade plus, and you know there's a bunch of full cast sign pieces, and Jerry is probably the most approachable and friendliest jerk in the hobby. He's very like tough in ways, but also almost automatic and easy in others. There's very few to nobody actually in the Friends cast. You have death and you have just douchiness, and it's
they're all Courtney's easy. The rest are hard.
Yeah, Courtney's easy. Yeah, that's true. Honestly, I think some of the living ones are harder than the dead ones, even now.
Yeah, I've heard stories. So I mean, it's a great looking piece, fantastic. And then finally, I love me a weird, rare wrestling promo, and Michael posted his Big John Studd promo. Now, you know, Big John Studd has probably zero fans on Earth. You know, there's no one out there going, you know, my favorite wrestler was Big John Studd. But that's what I love about it. That you know that it just is that rare collectible. You know, because he was a name for a minute. He was a name of that era, and then his health, he couldn't deliver what they needed him to deliver in terms of you know, dates on the road, and so that's when he kind of got phased out pretty quickly. But there was he was that first, he was part of that first LJN run. He had a thumb wrestler and a bendy. That was their first. You know, he was a very recognizable big man. You know, and
I was
he had
gonna
that whole feud with Andre because of his size.
I was going to say I didn't have a ton of LJNs, but he was one I had. So Big John Studd was mixing it up with my original San Francisco toy maker, WCW.
To be fair,
LJN
he was a peg warmer of that release.
I don't recall how I had it, but that's probably why. I probably found it somewhere for dirt cheap and got it.
What else we have? Photo with Friday. Van Robbins posted a shot with Nick Khan from Mania. I saw a bunch of people getting Nick Khan. This is a weird one for me because Nick Khan. Why would you want a photo with Nick Khan?
Yes.
Why? He's not famous. He hasn't done anything.
He's the higher up in WWE. He's known.
Yeah, but so, as an executive, I mean, would you get an executive from IBM?
Well, I'm not a psychopath, deranged groupie for IBM like I am for wrestling, so it's different. I think he's. I mean, I guess it goes back to why you don't want Laurinaitis. It's the same thing to me. This is a big name. This would be, you know, he's
no, Laurinaitis at least was a wrestler.
I mean, I didn't know
Laurinaitis was a worker. I mean, Nick Khan has done nothing. He's a venture capital slug. You know, I have, when I say less than zero interest.
Well, you're not understanding that life and bragging and clout, and I'm joking about the last two because how are you going to really brag about any of this Nick Khan level stuff? But life is the photo op game. You want to get everybody that has any sort of validity because I don't know why, because you do, and it's sick and not well. But that's the thought process. So I'm completely on. You know, when I saw Van Robbins and the other people getting him, that was probably one of the names I was a little more like, oh shoot, that's actually pretty cool.
No, I recognize that our members will appreciate it, but I wouldn't give him a second glance if we were alone in an elevator. On the other hand, Chris Collector posted his shot with Obafemi. That was cool. I love the shots with Obafemi because you could especially when you can see like their perspective based shots, so you can see how big he actually is.
And Chris
It's cool to
Collector's a
see.
big dude himself.
He absolutely is a big dude, and he looked tiny next to Oba. So that was cool. And Ari and his son with Terry Bradshaw. You know, I'm not a huge football person. I never was, but Terry Bradshaw was in those commercials. Those what were the in the late '90s, early 2000s with the telephone company commercials, right?
Oh, pretty good commercial.
That sort of revitalized.
Right there.
I know, but that probably like he sort of reemerged in the public consciousness with those commercials. So
he has sold several photo ops just from commercials. I'm sure of it.
I believe it.
You know.
Was. I mean, I know, but that's a funny thing. Like, would I get Terry Bradshaw? Probably in an elevator. I wouldn't pay, but you know, for free, I would. So I would choose Terry Bradshaw over Nick Khan. So I don't know what you would think about me, but. Or what do you think that says about me? But that's true.
Is this a new thing we're gonna do? We're gonna rank the photo with Fridays by how badly we want to.
No. And typically, I won't. I don't want to yuck someone's yum. I just find Nick Khan to be repulsive on every level. You
just don't like anyone that's close to Triple H. I see how it is.
I don't think he's close to Triple H
in proximity.
I mean, that's an absurd metric. I mean, yes, by geographic proximity, I guess.
They're in a lot of the same meetings. They're right next to each other, really, on the, you know.
Yeah, but he's whatever. This is he's an executive. He's accomplished nothing of note in his life. I don't understand that. I just don't understand the appeal, but whatever. I'm not getting into it. All right, con news. You assembled this fine list of con news for us. Although I did send you the announcement that James Franco is doing a private signing. And did you look at the pricing for James Franco?
Was it actually fully announced? I know they had the little highlight of where the pricing started yesterday.
That's all I got was where the pricing started. But the pricing for an 8x10 is $89. That's low. For a person of James Franco's stature.
I'm telling you right now, I think what's happening there is that he's a little bit of a pervert. And I mean, for the most part, we kind of knew he was a pervert for the majority of his career. It was sort of like a Diddy thing, where like he was literally in the news for like hitting on underage girls that were at his stage door on Instagram. Like we knew this. And then because it hit in a certain way, everyone like can't deal with him anymore. Even though we always knew he was a pervert. But I'm a fan of the perverts. So I think I'll probably take a bite on a 11x17. I met him before, never got a graph. So
wait, you would do a send-in, or you would talk about if he does a con run?
No, I did honestly, the send-ins on Linda Hamilton broke a seal a little bit. If it's a good price and it's someone I already met, if I can get my autograph done that way, I'll do it.
Now, would you buy one of their prints, or would you send in?
Buy one of theirs. I assume that, you know, how badly can you louse up printing an 11x17? If you're a slightly major company, I think they could handle that.
I mean, a bold prediction. But I mean, I'm eager to see, you know, what the pricing on the full menu. You know, I imagine if you want full-size Spider-Man posters, it scales pretty high. But we'll see. You know, because I have an original dual-sided Spider-Man poster that I bought for Willem Dafoe. You know,
you gotta send in. You gotta send in. I think
I'm not sending in. I'm over it. Unless it's somebody I really need, I'm not sending in.
I think I'm. But anyway, I think I might do an 11x17 Pineapple Express, and I'll hold it for
Chase Seth Rogen. I didn't see this story, but no, actually, never mind. I did. So there was a company that posted about a Larry Bird private signing. I mean, so there was a huge upcharge for getting a rookie card signed. It was like a $900 upcharge, and people complained about it. But the company, rather than just, you know, take the complaints, you were absolutely tickled by their replies.
Yeah, they told one guy that they wished his mother had used protection so he didn't exist, which is deranged and at the same time kind of like if I knew I had like a week left, this is how I would handle some of the dumb eBay messages we get. Just zero regard for tomorrow, and just let it all hang out. I respect it. I hate this whiny crap about pricing, and that's too high. Then don't buy it. I can't take it anymore. These morons that when people go to the WWE shows and buy the prints for $50 or $30 or whatever, and they triple the prices to be eBay level, and that's bad. Like, that's life. No one is owing you fair pricing. If you don't want to buy it,
this is not that. Come on, this is not that. This is he's one price, except if you've been holding his rookie card for a bunch of years and he wants $900 extra.
But that's standard. A lot of cards. Look at Ric Flair with Fitterman. Granted, that could be just as egregious as this, but that's the game. The rookie cards are premium items.
I don't know. I think that why don't you like, or why don't you appreciate someone using their voice to critique the practice? I mean, we've discussed premium pricing, when there are plenty of prominent people in the hobby don't like premium pricing. What's wrong with this fan complaining about premium pricing?
I'll tell you what's wrong with this fan complaining about premium pricing. The average person in this hobby that doesn't use premium pricing can get away with it because they don't have the bankroll to book talent with premium items. That's being real. We don't use premium pricing because we're not booking anybody big. If we were booking big names, you can bet your ass I'd be fighting you to do premium pricing. Why would we do flat rate on big names that we can make more money on, or that we're going to watch people come in and pay the set price and make money?
But I don't think they're making more money this way. I don't. Maybe
$900 is exorbitant. It might be. But
that's the whole premise of the argument, though. Is that $900 is exorbitant? What the hell? How could you do you not hear what you're saying?
But you don't think the Larry Bird rookie card is selling for significantly higher than an 8x10?
I do, but I also think there are going to be a bunch of people who go, not doing it, or going to buy one off the secondary market for less than that, which they probably can.
Well, then
a lot of these companies, though, their head is up their own ass when it comes to premium pricing or the talents, because it's often the talent themselves, and so they miss sales because of this pricing. I don't think they're making extra money from this pricing. I don't think Tom Kenny was doing a lot of tattoo autographs with that premium pricing. I think if instead he did a deal, $50 if you want me to tattoo my signature on your body, I think he would get other people who wouldn't have done that otherwise to do it. I think there is definitely a value in presenting yourself as reasonable. And to me, and his thing is, his other premium price upcharges were not that high. It was like $100 or $200 higher.
Well,
for
I'm
other
looking
items.
right now 6 days ago on eBay, and I'm not a big sports card guy nowadays. 1981 Larry Bird Topps rookie card, graded, sold for $9.99, signed, and then another one a week before that with a I think a lower grade
graded,
on the card.
signed, $9.99. So that's way beyond what this is. Way beyond, because the grading fee on those is high too.
I mean, they probably could have priced it a few hundred less, but it still would have been 4 or 5 times the other price. And I bet you a lot of people still would have complained. I'm tired of.
Now you're presenting a hypothetical as opposed to a $900 premium on rookie cards is exorbitant. It's farcical.
Don't buy
farcical. It. I mean, I think a lot of people won't, which is the point of the conversation.
I'm tired. I know I run a group where every time anyone farts on camera in an airport, I post it to get conversation. So I get I'm being a hypocrite. But I hate the 2026 logic where everything is a cause and we got to speak out against it. You are ringing up groceries at the Piggly Wiggly. We don't care what your voice is saying about Larry Bird's rookie card price. If you don't want to buy it, don't. That's my outlook on it. I probably sound like a jerk.
We had 45 minutes worth of hilarious discussion about the Tom Kenny menu.
That's funny. And I was actually
no
in favor
difference.
of it.
It's the same thing.
Well, no, it's not. I wasn't bashing Tom Kenny. I said if someone's sick enough to tattoo your name on their body, rip them off even more because they're going to pay.
But it wasn't just that. It was the whole
a
very complicated menu, the absurdity of this Byzantine menu that was absurd. It wasn't just the
Well, I will
It
say,
wasn't just
I think the other
the
pricing here
number.
is pretty fair. It's just the rookie card. If you want to gatekeep a rookie card the way Fitterman does with Ric Flair, I don't really have a problem with it. I wouldn't pay it, but I mean, lots of things I wouldn't pay. I don't go complaining. I don't go shouting in the Tesla dealership. I wouldn't pay this much money for this car. I just don't get it. That's my
No, I mean
outlook
I
on
do
it.
understand the whole vote with your wallets mentality, but I do think a little bit of a public shaming for certain things like this. Um, just like I do believe that public shaming about people who use auto pens is important to try to move the needle on some of these things.
That
I, mean,
I agree. If there's shadiness going on, but this is a price. This is a price that is set in advance. You choose to buy it or not. To me, if it's not being shady or deceptive or thieving or something, like there's no reason to go calling it out. Just don't buy it. That's
that's
my
fair.
philosophy.
I do think though that the vendor had an absolutely insane reply to this guy.
It was.
Um,
I actually texted a screenshot of that to Terrence because I knew Terrence is like, this is a level of like petty anger that even Terrence doesn't do. Terrence on his worst day never said that. I mean, I wouldn't really do it. It was just funny because you don't see that every day.
yeah, that was nutty. It was nutty. No other word for it. Nutty. Um, this is a cool story you sent me. A fan at what show was it at? Was it Mania
I think it was the
or
Raw
SmackDown?
after Mania, perhaps, but I'm not
It was
positive. I don't think
one of the
they
live
didn't say.
shows.
They didn't say which one.
So a big part of WWE's business at the merch table now is those signed 11 by 14s, but they're getting very slick about it now. They're having randomly inserted ones. So you buy one, you don't know if you buy a random one, and 99% of them are the same. But then they'll randomly insert like chases, for lack of a better word. And so there was a Danhausen 11 by 14. It was signed by Danhausen, and then Cody Rhodes on it wrote, "Stop signing my merch." Then he signed it and wrote one of one. And a fan who had bought this Danhausen one now has this rare, valuable, kind of funny thing, which is really like a social media feud, even not even a real camera feud, but very, very funny, very clever. And it definitely, I think, builds hype because that fan immediately ran and posted that thing everywhere. It builds hype around their merchandise. And I think it's a brilliant idea. It's brilliant.
And the next time that someone bashes people for selling 6 of these that they bought at a live event, let's not act like this type of thing is not calling more people to want to buy 10 of these. Because now you can get a chase, perhaps. And that's what WWE and Fanatics wants. That's why they're doing it like this. And I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was just like a neat little thing. I thought it was great. So are we doing the Helen Keller or are we not? Because I thought we were not, but you put it on here anyway.
I think we have to look into that a little deeper, right? Isn't that what you said? That
yeah, so the story is
more than just a bullet point.
Yeah, Helen Keller, there's an autographed card of hers that went for like $3,500 on eBay. It's a little bit low, but also I think a bigger story here is, and I know this has been reported many, many, many places for years, that a lot of the historical autographs that are cut and put into trading cards, even by reputable companies, there's been some doubt about their authenticity and their provenance, and it's a complicated issue. So I don't want to speak about it without really doing a lot of background reading on it.
Very fair.
Steel City Con added Rachel Harris and Adam Savage. I'm sure those two are putting a lot of asses in seats. Monster Mania added Bryce Dallas Howard. Again, not moving the needle for me in any way because Jurassic World for me is a dud. If they should. I don't know why you're wasting your time on Bryce Dallas Howard. Just get Sam Neill already. Enough. No one wants Bryce Dallas Howard.
I hope the Monster Mania brings her dad now, which I mean, Monster Mania Ron Howard doesn't really roll off the tongue, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know why he does some but not others. I don't know. Rhode Island Comic Con added Jamie Alexander and Mimi Rogers. I'm really hoping that Rhode Island Comic Con adds Martin and Charlie Sheen to add to the Wall Street reunion. With Michael Douglas. I think it's a no-brainer.
And listen, if you're bringing in 2 Estes,
Daryl Hannah,
we need one more.
I don't care about Emilio. If they bring in Martin and Charlie Sheen and Daryl Hannah as a Wall Street Union, that to me that would be one of the best con lineups ever. But I mean, I'm really getting ahead of myself with all that because there's not even a rumor of that happening. But I mean, you have Michael Douglas coming in. To me, that's special. So you got to do something with that.
If you got if you got some people that are on the scene that would make something, but you may also feel like you don't really need that. Michael Douglas on his own is enough.
I guess I don't know. He's so expensive that he's not gonna. A lot of people are not gonna get him, so it's complicated.
And just before we move on from Rhode Island Comic Con, I think Jamie Alexander is a natural con name with her credits, the Marvel stuff, and she's also super fan friendly. I think this is the start of a run. I think she'll end up being like a Palm Clementif, if I'm pronouncing that name right. She's going to be all over after this.
Tropic Con, which is incidentally located on Long Island, which is not tropical at all, has Dante Bosco. I mean, he's doing another run, I guess. Terrific Con added Brian Thompson. Fan Expo Boston added Mel Gibson. I believe that this is an old one, isn't the Houston Celebrity Comic Con or no?
I wrote it out today. Maybe we covered it before. It's possible.
I don't know. Houston Celebrity Comic Con added Lena Headey. No, it's not old because she did the other one, that MegaCon, right? Florida.
The point is, she's getting closer. Her footsteps are
she's getting further away. She went from Florida to Texas.
Doesn't matter. She's covering the globe. She's coming. She'll be at New York Comic Con this year.
Get her north of the Mason-Dixon line, then we'll talk. Texas Frightmare added Emma Roberts. She needs to do a Northeast show already.
I will always love Emma Roberts just for the fact that a marked out grapher, and I'm not laughing at it, but it's just so absurd. A marked out grapher approached her in the airport years ago, and her response was, "No, you're too fat." And I mean, I don't know who would do that. It's not right. It's not nice. But there's a certain degree of just blunt honesty there that I pop for. I do. I'm sorry. And it's like...
Is that because she didn't want to be photographed next to someone who was fat? Or what do you think? What was it?
I would assume, I guess... I don't really know. It's probably she didn't want to do it. But I did notice that like other spots, like I saw her before, and like they were the more like sort of slovenly, like sweaty of the people didn't really get her. And the people that were slimmer and like they bathed that day and stuff, she was a little more approachable with. So I guess
if you're gatekeeping based on looks in this hobby, sheesh, you're never going to be doing anything.
That's the perfect philosophy. You don't have to do much of anything.
That's a funny thing. There's an attractiveness threshold for my willingness to do it. That's pretty funny. That's just fantastic, honestly. It's a great story. So if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, please email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out Autograph Collecting community on Facebook. All links are in the show notes on Facebook and Substack. If you want your event, product, or brand advertised on episodes of Marked Out Radio, reach out to us today at markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com. Get your Marked Out Radio merch on our Pro Wrestling Tees shop. See the link below or check out the pinned post on Facebook. At the Sharpie Social, the Little Rat was wearing the newly released Little Rat t-shirt. Did you take a picture of him in the shirt?
I didn't. I have video of
You may have to freeze frame that.
Yeah. And I also, you didn't get to like touch Zach's chest at all, did you?
I did not, but if you could believe, I did not.
Okay, but like I wanted to like reach over and grope him, but it felt inappropriate. The like printing of the Little Rat shirt looked like a different texture than the other shirts, but it must have been just an optical illusion.
It was an optical illusion with the shirt, because the shirt, I did a really, not to brag, I think I did a really nice job color matching that
Unless
shirt.
Zach picked a very premium shirt, because with Pro Wrestling Tees, you could pick your journey there.
Well, what did you think about because I only picked the top premium shirts for mine.
I didn't touch your chest either.
But you weren't looking.
Wait, hold on. You picked a different shirt than I picked?
Yes. I picked top premium for everything.
Wow. You didn't even like tip me off. We were in the same order.
I mean, you're cheap. Why would I? Why, you said this one. I did. I thought I told you. I'm doing top premium for everything.
Maybe you did.
And that's why you said that for one shirt you did the slightly higher premium. The other ones you didn't. Right?
Is that so? I did that? I thought I
I'm
did
pretty
the
sure
same
you
for
did.
all. Sounds
I don't
about
remember.
right. Never mind.
But I did the top premium anyway.
Disregard my outrage. I think I stand corrected.
And I now you interrupted the whole commercial there. And
sorry.
So if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, and leave a rating and/or review. And I say the same thing every week, but you leave ratings, reviews, and comments everywhere. Please do. Although I noticed there were certain Spotify episodes that have comments on them that I never saw the comments, and we don't get notified, so I never replied. But I always try to reply on YouTube to those comments. Why is that funny?
I don't know. It's like the Spotify comments. It's like a time capsule almost. They just not to be seen for 20 years. But I mean, we gotta get. I gotta like download Spotify and actually like check the comments.
The problem is the Spotify comments section, it functions best on the web. But who the hell uses Spotify on the web? You know, sometimes at work I'll have it, in a tab at work, but that's it. Otherwise, it's always on my phone. So
you subscribe to Spotify?
I do.
Wow, that's weird.
Why would you say wow? Why is that weird? That's normal. That's what most people do.
Apple Music, pal.
No, Apple Music has like significantly fewer subscribers than Spotify.
Well,
I believe
that's probably true. Apple Music is the way.
Why though?
Because I am a slave to Apple.
No, but what is good about it?
It's all, I don't know. It's integrated. I like it. It all goes in. Actually, I have a tangible reason.
Integrated with what?
If I download old mixtapes, or at least it used to be when I used to have Spotify, you'd have to like save it as a playlist. It was some weird clunky thing to have like your like locally hosted files on Spotify. It didn't integrate with your library. But Apple Music, I could download a Class 316 Christmas album, and it would look the same in my phone as a Jay-Z album if I just uploaded it. That was better. I don't know if Spotify has changed. They probably have.
Who has locally hosted music? Anyway, it's actually not even close. Spotify has like more than 3 times the number of subscribers to Apple Music. So
if you're a hip-hop fan, none of the G-Unit radios are on Apple Music. So you need all those Who Kid tapes.
And Lord knows who would survive without their G-Unit radio.
Exactly.
So I don't actually have a vocabulary word for this week. I think we might be out of vocabulary words. We can't be out of them, but I can't think of any. So if you have any words that you've heard us say that you don't know, ask. And I know Dana is a more kind of you're a bigger offender with this. You'll use like very specific terminology. I really try not to. So if you notice, but the problem is we both are so zoomed into this world for so many years that like there are words I hear that I don't even realize. I don't think that normal people don't know them or don't know the specific context. So if you hear a weird sounding word, if you need a vocabulary word explained, please leave it in the comments somewhere so that we can address it in future episodes.
Agreed.
Because usually what ends up happening is I pick the vocabulary word based on something I heard you say, and then I'm like, yeah, people don't know what that is. And that's usually how I do it. So, but I'm running low on words. So let's talk about the main topic of the show. It's Chiller Theater. This weekend was Chiller Theater. We were very, very hyped for Chiller this year, touting it as an outstanding lineup, a real strong showing of a lineup. And the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. It is not quite what we thought it was going to be, huh?
I still think it wasn't a bad show. It was. I mean, the fact I only got 4 names, I suppose, indicates it wasn't the greatest, for sure. And we had the 2 cancellations. When you lose 2 guys,
way more than 2 headline cancellations. But there were way more than 2 cancellations.
Listen, every show's got a bunch of cancellations. I'm saying 2 headline ones, and I'm also strictly and solely focusing on my own needs. I also want to point out that I got Sally Struthers when I did. She would have been, for me, massive. So that kind of hurt Chiller for me, which is, to no fault of Chiller's. I think it wasn't the worst show, but it certainly was a little soft in parts, and I think the crowd was kind of indicative of that.
Okay, I mean, I thought we were gonna give a report on the show. So yeah,
Well,
I thought the show was
here we are.
the attendance was light. There were two draws at this show. Heather Locklear and Christopher Lambert. That's it. No one else had any lines at all. Sally Struthers briefly had lines here and there, but we're talking 5 minutes, nothing of any consequence. Heather
How about
Locklear had a
Chris Noth?
long. Well, are we going in order, or are we jumping ahead?
I don't know. You tell me.
All right, let's talk about Chris Noth. So Chris Noth had no line. He had no line. He had no business almost the entire. I mean, we walked in on Saturday, and so we walked in, and at the front door there was a spot to the way you typically get in is there's a spot for people who need to buy tickets, and there was a spot for people who have pre-ordered tickets. There was a third spot, which was actually an overflow line for Heather Locklear. So right away that tells me Heather Locklear did good business, and she drew. And you know what? She was down there at 10 a.m. and that line when we went back at like noon, that overflow line was still there.
Yeah.
In fact, the only way we were able to get close to Heather Locklear was the time-honored trick of waiting till she went for her photo op and then walking up in her line and camping. We only were there for maybe 30 minutes, and then she came back. She was a workhorse, right?
She was. And the risk of that move is if sometimes the lunch follows the photo op, in which case you may have wasted 30 minutes camping to find out she's at lunch, or you're camping for 90 minutes. But at that point of the day, we were already done, and we were basically just waiting for Locklear.
So my friend Ted accompanied us on our drive. I mean, Ted used to be the one who went to Monster Mania with me all the time. And the plan was, I mean, Christopher Lambert's line was very long. So we basically put him in that line and then ran around the show doing stuff with no line. So I ran and I got Richard Berge from Desperate Housewives. I got I wanted to get Chris Noth and see what his line was like, and I walked in, there was no one there. Chris was on his phone, but it was actually hard to see where he was because there was no signage for him at all. So I think while I am not going to sit here and say that my prediction was accurate, because it clearly was not, and I was very mistaken about Chris Noth, I think that part of the issue was there you wouldn't know where he was. There was no signage at all.
Well, maybe that was very strange. Maybe they knew they wouldn't need a sign since there would be no line obstructing his view from the rest of the room.
I mean, okay, yes, that's a very funny, clever joke, but I mean, I think the bigger issue is he was the only guest without a sign, and that speaks to the fact that clearly his agent had no idea what they were doing.
No, And let me be clear.
That's part of the problem. I'm not going to claim it's the whole problem, but it's definitely part of the problem there.
I agree. Let me be clear. I never thought or said he would not draw at all. I believe I actually said to you that he would be he'd be a top like 5 or 6 draw on the card. I thought more so Sex in the City than Law and Order, but I thought he had enough going for him that he would draw. The banner may be part of it. I don't think it's the whole part of it, as you said, but I think it's potentially part of it. I think maybe kind of sort of a little bit, Sex and the City may have suffered a similar fate to Entourage. Not as bad because it made movies that were hits, and it's definitely more relevant than Entourage is. But it sort of is not The Sopranos, where it really has aged like fine wine, and people still talk about it and watch it in the way that they used to. So I think maybe Sex and the City and Law and Order were not the draws at a convention with weirdos and nerds like us that maybe either one of us thought it was going to be. I think that might be part of it. I think it's a lot of things. But I was surprised as well.
Yeah, and he was kind of miserable. He was there in his, on his phone, just kind of physically present, but not mentally present at all.
Would you hesitate to book Waterston now?
No.
What he did.
Sam Waterston is still a different level of star, though, I think. Also, Sam Waterston is still on TV today. He's still on Law and Order today. Sam Waterston had his whole run on Grace and Frankie. There are like things that he's done that I think play into his sort of pop culture. He's on commercials, right? Like he has a much, much bigger pop culture presence, I think.
Yeah,
I would book
I
Sam Morrison. I would lay out. I would, if anyone's listening, I would do a $20,000 guarantee for Sam Waterston for Chiller Weekend. If anyone wants to, figure out how to way to make that happen.
wait. You
I,
personally would throw 20 grand into this?
I would do a $20,000 guarantee. Yeah. Yes.
Ooh,
I think he
I
does
do
better than that.
not. I do not think he would be Locklear or Lambert at all. I don't. Maybe again, I might be.
I think the guarantees a double or triple that though.
That's fair, but I'm saying I don't know what he would do. I don't know. I think he'd do better than Noth, though. I agree. I'm not sure how much.
I mean,
better.
you were not certainly going into this weekend thinking Heather Locklear would be the draw that she was.
I think I kind of did. I thought she'd be above Noth. Maybe not this big. I didn't think she'd be overflow by the ticket window.
As it lines out the front door, come on.
But I thought she would do pretty well because she was a name like a Brooke Shields type of name, not to that magnitude. I get that, but she was a name that, like in her decades, like really mattered. Her name rang bells. It did, and that's worth something. Plus, I read one guy's report, or not report, but someone posted a photo of it. I think it actually might have been Bobby Sherry, who said that he was not really a huge fan of Melrose, but she had such a great like presence and personality and seemed so like, inviting and just like friendly.
Incredibly engaging. Yeah.
He couldn't pass up meeting her. That goes a long way. If Noth was standing up and, seeming like a good time, people would, I think more would have shown up to his table. I think a lot of people at a show like Chiller will walk by, and if they're not going to get this moment that they want, they don't care. They're not just chasing hits like some of us. They want a moment and experience, and they're turned off by that. I think that's part of it as well.
Probably true. So I also then I really wanted to get the Bob Smigel video op, and so like but the reputation was Bob Smigel had a huge line on Friday. That's what people said. And what was you tell me? What was Bob Smigel's line on Saturday?
Non-existent.
Nothing. 3 guys in front of me. That's it. And so it was easy peasy. But anyway, we get Chris Noth kind of did nothing. Very easy. Then you went over to Dee Wallace, and it's funny. We got kind of a song and dance from her handler that Dee would not write long quotes, but she would do a character name. I could see you were a little bit miffed. And then as soon as she picked up the pen, what was your reaction?
It wasn't for the rare time the song and dance was actually like genuine, or she's a much better actress than I ever thought, because she was struggling, and I was fully expecting and planning on asking her for that like 2 or 3 word description I was going to do. And honestly, seeing her write, I'm like, I don't really need it. It's fine. Character name, signature, look good. You kind of judged me for starting it, as you said before, because I'll never get Spielberg or Drew Barrymore or E.T. himself. But to me, the E.T. poster art, which is on the Laserdisc that I started, is just iconic and awesome. And it was an extra, I think, $30 over what the selfie would have been, plus the cost of the Laserdisc that I bought. So I stand by it. And the best part of meeting Dee Wallace is while you were taking my photo, and I was really pissed I didn't have my metas on for this thing, but she reacted to the Combo God shirt, and she mentioned them by name, and she seemed to enjoy and be amused by the Combo Gods.
Definitely appeared to be amused by that whole situation, and very, 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 very nice woman. Really, really, really friendly. Then we go over back to I did Smigel next. I'm gonna be honest. I was hoping, because I was not a huge like Triumph the Insult Comic Dog fan in his little sketches, but I was a fan of Bob Smigel in his many appearances on Stern, and he was on Stern many, 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 many times, and he's a quick-witted guy. And so I wanted to do the video because, one of my favorite things I've ever done in any con was when I got my Gary Anthony Williams video as Uncle Ruckus. It was a lot of fun. So I thought, I'll pay for the video to do Triumph the Dog. It'll be funny too. And, Bob definitely did not have a lot of gas in the tank. I'll just say that. Because I was, I am no stranger to repartee to improvisational work, and I was trying to feed him lines. I was trying to feed him things, and he took some of them and other ones he didn't, and he didn't really like. He went for a long time, so it was this weird thing where it was a very long video. It just wasn't funny, and I was hoping for more insults from the insult comic dog. He wasn't really insulting me the way that I wanted him to and hoped that he would. Gary Anthony Williams like insulting me nonstop the whole time. It was very rapid fire, funny things. He just didn't. Bob just didn't have it in the tank. I don't know why. I don't. I don't know if that's his typical thing. If I was uninspiring as a fodder for his comedy, I'm not sure. But I was a little let down by that experience.
Yeah, I heard bits and pieces. He was like fixating on your age and that you could be dead, I guess, and you're still alive. And I ended up talking to Vinny. It didn't seem all that exciting, but I don't know whether I assume other people get good videos. Maybe I'm not sure if like you said, you were just uninspiring to him, or he was just not feeling it. Who the hell knows?
But then we went over. I can't remember the order of things now. Did I get Richard Berge then or before or whatever? But
I think before, but I just threw it all out there as I was remembering when I was putting out the outline.
But it was kind of funny. Now I do like me some Desperate Housewives. I'm not gonna lie. But there was a woman, and we see this woman and her. Is that her husband or her brother? I'm not really sure.
I thought it might be her son.
It's tough to say. It really, but she's a character we see frequently at pretty much all the shows. Definitely a nut, but a nice nut, She dropped a couple $100 at his table, so he was being extra nice to her. But the funny piece of it was she kept demanding more and more and more and more poses for photo ops. How many pictures did she take with him? 50, 40? Just an absurd number over and over and over. And then she was yelling at whoever, it was her son, her husband, her brother, I don't know, whoever it was, whoever the person she may or may not have been getting it from. She kept like yelling at them to take more pictures and better pictures. And at one point the guy is like, take the phone back and just do selfies. I'm tired of this already, which I really popped for. I thought that was funny. She was demanding, very demanding. But in a very funny way. And let me tell you, Berge was great. He was indulging. He was laughing. He was a really, really, really nice guy.
Yeah, he's built for cons.
Totally.
He handles all that crap well.
Why didn't you get him?
I'm not super familiar with anything he did. The Seinfeld guest, but I don't get everybody from Seinfeld. There's certain people I get, certain people I don't get. One day I may regret that, but I can't get everybody. As much as it may seem like I do, I don't, and I can't. So I pick and choose. And yeah, even looking now, like I was never a Desperate Housewives person, so there was not a real compelling reason.
What else? So at some point we rejoined Ted in line for Lambert, and then while we're in line, I guess there was you kind of spiraled for a minute there. You got some family news, and then you made the tactical error of trying to talk about it and deal with it there instead of waiting until afterward. In retrospect, what are your thoughts on that?
I guess it worked out, but it was a little annoying. I tried to get away from the bustling Lambert line, and I went across the way to lean on the wall to make my phone call, and that obnoxious woman that was running the lines over there was like harassing me, like, what line are you in? What line are you in? Are you in this line? It's like, clearly I'm making a phone call. I'm out of the way. Like no one's behind me to join this line. Who gives a crap? And I like kind of rudely, I'm like, well, I am now. And then she just like walked away. But it's like, what the hell do you want from me? And then I like came back. I rejoined the line because I actually, which is always great during a family emergency. I told my wife, who was upset with the news, I gotta go because the line is about to reach the table, and luckily she's been with me long enough now that she knows what that means and like why that matters. So she was fine with it.
That you're an insane person.
Yes. So I had to hang her up. I had to hang up in her moment of grief to do what I had to do. But then I called her back while I was letting my item dry. I had the item in one hand, the phone in the other, and I think it all worked well.
Yeah, so I mean, Ted got to experience the magic of Molotov because he came to the con with a bunch of original Highlander posters and one original Mortal Kombat poster, and he was concerned about what color to use, what marker to use, and so I brought a metallic silver deco, and we'll talk about something that happened with decos in a minute, but um, uh, and we used the metallic silver deco on one of his posters, which he was happy with. But you had brought the fine Molotov, which we ended up using on the other ones, which he is absolutely over the moon thrilled with. So, we had lots of time, ample time for pen discussion at Chiller.
I love the one guy behind us in line that kept like popping his head into like the conversation. I felt like
Yep.
saying I should have said like just listen to the damn podcast if you find this all so entertaining.
I that's something we get more practiced in just doing. Why not? These people they want to chat in line. That was around the time when you finally met Jeremy. It was around that time in the line for Lambert, right?
Yes, he was in line. He was ahead of us in the line, but he was in line for Lambert.
And then a few minutes later, I think then after that was over, we went over to get Mark Boone from Sons of Anarchy.
And apparently Seinfeld. I never knew he was that guy, honestly, until now.
Doesn't even look like the same species, the same
I know.
person. And Mark Boone was a little bit, I don't know, I perceived him more strangely than you did. You thought he was fine. I thought he was weird.
No, he was weird. I was nervous. I'm always nervous with something like the poster I have. It's like an 11x17 like Comic-Con like original like print. I got Hunnam and Seagal and Perlman, and it's probably one of my nicer pieces. I've taken it from Pittsburgh to Providence and all points in between. I've dumped hundreds of dollars into it. And now I'm getting close enough to the finish line where I get nervous. And he seemed kind of weird. Like on Zach Chiara's report, he like wrote a nasty word that would get us censored. On Michael Richards, I think he got like his consent to do that. But after seeing that, I actually was looking at Zach's report, I believe, while in line for him, and I'm like, oh crap, is he going to decide to like draw like bunny ears or something on Jax or something stupid that's going to piss me off? And he didn't. But he was weird. I don't know if he was being an ass or he was trying to be funny, and that's just how it came across. He was fine. He was nice enough, but it was a strange encounter. And I was honestly just happy when it was over and my item wasn't ruined. And he actually did a fine job. I suggested he write on the arm. He didn't like writing on the arm, and he wrote somewhere else. But where he signed was fine. It actually may have looked better. I think he was right. So I mean, it all worked out. But he was definitely a little bit strange.
I think so. And then speaking of strange, we went to the Heather Locklear line. We made the conscious choice to wait while she was doing her ops. We were very near the front as a result. And while we were observing that room, one of the things we observed was Sally Struthers signing autographs in the wild. And what did you notice about Sally Struthers?
Sally Struthers was, in a sense, she switch hit. She went to the other side of the plate. I've never seen a guest like you could picture the main like ballroom or any room. You have the wall going down, you have all the tables lined up, and the celebrity sits between the table and the wall. That's how it normally goes. The fans line up in front of the table, they reach the table, they do their business, they leave. Sally Struthers chose to sit back facing the crowd, face looking at the wall, sitting on the other side of the table, like where the fans usually go. So the fan line like sort of looped around the table, and the fan was between the back table, the back end of the table and the wall. I've never seen that done before. I can't for the life of me understand how that made any sense. I believe Vinny gave me clarification, or honestly, the attempt at clarification, where he messaged that, what did he say exactly? She was sitting that way because she's not taking table ops. To her, sitting in that part of the table would imply that she was not taking table ops. That's like the table op equivalent of like a sock or a tie on the doorknob, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Just to be clear, there is nothing about sitting on the other side of the table that would indicate to a stranger that it means you're not taking table ops. There's like no relationship between those two things.
No. I initially, if she was taking table ops, I would have argued that, maybe she liked the lighting better. because Chiller Theaters Hotel, people bash the parking. I don't really care. You can always find a spot you're not going to get towed from. The walk is whatever. If it's not raining, it's fine. But one thing you can't argue is that Chiller is lit like complete crap. It's awful. The vendors needed like lamps, like all of these things. So I would, if she was doing table ups, I would have said, hey, maybe she liked the lighting. But the lighting was of no consequence, unless she's nuts enough that she just liked the way she looked in the lighting better for her admiring fans, which is possible, but it's weird.
And then Sally. So Heather Locklear comes back, and the guy immediately in front of her, in front of us, sorry, has two original Swamp Thing posters from whatever Swamp Thing project that Heather Locklear was a part of. And one of the posters was, they're both pretty colorful, and he had the one signed in non-metallic medium silver deco. Now, for those who don't realize, there's like 3 grades of silver and gold deco. There's non-metallic, metallic, and premium metallic, and they're vastly different. Non-metallic are the most stable in terms of how they write, but they don't reflect light at all. And to be honest, we don't use them at all. We don't use non-metallic gold or silver. The only item I have that's non-metallic gold or silver, I have the non-metallic gold. That's what Dom Mysterio signed my print with when my premium gold failed. So to get a little clarity on that. The one we use is the metallic silver, not the premium metallic, just the metallic. And what they do is the metallic has tiny metal shavings in it that makes it makes it reflect light. The premium metallic has more of those metal shavings, but it's a less stable flow of ink, of paint through the pen. So it looks a little bit better than the normal metallic that we use for everything, but in my opinion, not enough better to justify using it. Anyway, this guy used the non-metallic silver deco, and me, you, and Ted, we watched her sign this beautiful original poster. She signed huge, gigantic letters. She really tried to make it look good, and we all had the exact same simultaneous reaction.
It looked awful.
Horrifying.
I had the metas rolling while we are just watching and judging. Honestly, he may have even heard us judging how bad it looked. I hope I didn't get to watch that back yet. I hope the glasses actually captured how it looked, because it really was disappointing looking.
I think more than anything else, this is just, it's an argument in favor of using the metallic silver deco on everything.
Yeah. And I see that poster's not super expensive, but I mean, it's a $60, $70, $80 poster. The autograph was $80, and you want it to look good. And that's the scary part. Like, unless, like, you have to really, if you're not super experienced, you buy the poster, you buy what you think, even if you listen to our podcast. Ooh, silver deco. That's got to be good. If you buy the wrong silver deco, you end up with that. If you're not super experienced or you haven't made many mistakes that you've learned from, things happen. It's scary. That is what's scary about this hobby.
So, important caveat, when we talk about silver deco, what we really mean is metallic silver deco. And if you want to be really technical, metallic fine point silver deco, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The premium is not worth it. I agree with you. It looks nice, but you're enhancing your risk percentage, and that's not worth it to me.
So you went and you got Dash Mihawk, or however you say his name, and what did you think of that old thing?
I mean, he seems just like Bunch from Ray Donovan,
Sure.
which is perhaps a bit of an insult, since Bunch was sort of known as being a little slow, but he seemed very nice. He was very nice. He was talkative. As I do a lot of times, just to sort of see what they'll say, I was harassing him about that he has to get more of the Ray Donovan cast out to do cons, because he kind of popped to see Liev had already signed it. And, it was a cool experience. I saw him walking around the show floor a lot. And when we were there, he didn't really do very much business. So I don't know. I think Ray Donovan, much like Law and Order and maybe Sex and the City, is just not a convention property. I think that's probably what it is. The average person watching Ray Donovan's not there. And he was cool to me, but to the average person, they're like, who the hell's that? And that's the sad thing with some of these names. Not every property that we may be passionate about is going to translate to every con.
Yeah, that's just true. Seemed nice enough, but how much money is he making over the course of the weekend? Just nothing. And then the final thing we hit, Ted and I had both bought vinyl records, reprint or reissues, because they were only issued on tape and CD originally. The Jerky Boys 1 was released on vinyl not too long ago because Johnny Brennan was in the house. Let me tell you something. First is the pricing for Johnny Brennan. I texted you, I texted Ted when I saw his pricing, and what was your reaction when you saw that pricing?
That's not pricing you see anymore. That's pretty damn good.
So Johnny Brennan was $30 per autograph, free photo op. It's like that. I'm pretty sure that's what he charged in 2008.
And listen, he gave a great experience. I have Class 316 switcherooing on camera. That footage will be coming soon. There was not a single human money, as Danhausen would say, exchanged in the transaction. Class 316.
Does it count as a switcheroo if Johnny was doing free ops?
Well, you sound like Class. It was free with purchase. He didn't make a purchase.
Yeah, but I don't think it really mattered. Johnny's there to hang out, have some fun, make a little money, but really Johnny's the nicest guy ever. He wants to do voices, he wants to tell stories, he wants to have a good time. That was honestly, I went there, I met Johnny back at Big Apple Con in like 2008, and I didn't meet him anymore. And he ended up being my top experience from the show.
I have a grievance to air. You and Ted, but I'm going to blame you mostly because you were driving and you were controlling the radio. You decided to play me a Jerky Boys album on the way back from the con instead of the way to the con. Because I enjoyed what I heard and I would have gotten him, but it was too late. You should have done it before.
How is it that it's 2026 and you've never heard of the Jerky Boys? Like, how's that possible?
I never said I never heard of the Jerky Boys. I just never listened to the Jerky Boys.
So you heard of it and you just said, I'm never going to take the 30 seconds to listen to one of these prank phone calls.
Yes, pretty much.
But then again, my question to you is, how would I know that? How would I know that you made the choice to kind of marinate in this sea of ignorance for so long and not have heard the Jerky Boys?
Well, you knew my sea of ignorance when you suggested playing it for me, but you
no, I didn't. I
on the
asked
way back.
you. No, the question was, we were talking about it, and I said, "Well, you know the Jerky Boys, right?" You're like, "No, I never heard of it." I'm like, "What? We have to play it."
Should have been played on the way there. It was a low blow.
I mean, he's also Mort from Family Guy.
I know. I was actually looking at the picture of Mort, and I was wondering if I was making a mistake. Next time Johnny Brennan's around, I'm getting him.
He does chiller pretty frequently. He's not rare or anything.
No, I'll get him next time.
Jerky Boys is one of those things I freaking love. I love that it's such a memorable part of my childhood. Trading those tapes in junior high school. I remember like my friend's dad got a bootleg tape from someone at work, and we took it and we were listening to it and we're going crazy and having it's such a fun memory because it was considered so like dangerous. It was considered so, radical, I guess, at the time. And it's dopey. Listen to it now. It's freaking stupid, but it was so cool. Like you knew you could share something with the other kids on the bus. Like, have you heard the Jerky Boys? And then you do the voices, get Brett Weir. I said, all that stuff. My shoes fell off. All these things, and actually, what the funny thing was. So do you remember back at the Nassau Coliseum Hotel when I was talking to Rich? I think was it Nassau Coliseum? Was it late? No, it was Legends of the Ring. I was talking to Rich one time, and we were doing the Jerky Boys voices back and forth. Do you remember that we were there for that?
I do remember that. I guess I didn't know what the hell you were doing, but yeah.
So it's one of those things that you can commune with people. You use the Jerky Boys voice. You use Sal Rosenberg or Frank Rizzo or any of these, any of the ones that are memorable. And Jack Torse, whoever, Kissel, and it's like doing Borat or doing Ali G. where it just
Or
immediately
Class
brings people
316.
together. Or Class 316, it brings people together. I love the Jerky Boys, and I had a blast meeting Johnny Brennan. I got my vinyl signed. I'm very, very happy about it. Yeah, it was the price was right. It was really good. So I was really happy about that. Johnny Brennan, the best. And if you see him at a con, you should definitely get him because his pricing is very reasonable, very fair.
Agreed.
So then the Sharpie Social happened, and we did have a couple of cancellations going into the Sharpie Social. I think we were supposed to have like 3 or 4 more. I think like 4 more people who were supposed to come, and they all canceled at the last minute. We still had a nice intimate showing at some new faces at the Sharpie Social. What is your whole sense of this after having done two of them now with other people?
Well, first of all, it was nice meeting Leo Dean, who was supposed to come to the Sharpie Social but had something come up that he couldn't make it. Always nice putting faces to the names, and thank you to Robert, who came to the Sharpie Social. I don't know if it's been talked about on here. I think it actually definitely has. I was always a bit, not really against, but largely against the Sharpie Socials, much like I was the podcast. Because I like my rituals, I like cheap, I like doing things. I sound like Class 316 right now, I'm aware. And doing all these things, adding hours onto the show was like whatever. Like I was never really super excited about it. But I think I'm getting more and more into it the more we're doing it. I think you would agree yesterday I was probably the least obnoxious about the splits of the check. I kind of just rolled with it a little bit. I mean, I still made sure I went
Did you
last.
like, by the way, did you like how I steamrolled the entire table with regard to the tip? Did you appreciate that or no?
Not really. Wasn't a fan. I would have actually lessened the tip because the woman was giving attitude.
I don't think she was giving attitude. Come on, we were ridiculous. We were taking up space. That was their biggest table in the restaurant, and we were occupying it for like 2 hours. Also,
class was like, I think, scaring the older woman next to him when he was talking about like suicides and things.
And we were very loud.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely moved the needle on that. People were trying to calculate exact nickels for the tip, and I kind of said no, this is the amount, and I was able to do that, and no one really complained about it. I think it was good. We had a blast. I mean, I thought it was just a lot of a funny thing happened at the Sharpie Social. Like Linder really tried to grill Class about his past and his history and all like the greatest hits, and it's because Linder is still relatively new to the scene. He didn't realize that these are songs we've all heard before, you and I.
What I will say, I agree, but it's also kind of fun. It's like, Class 316 is like, Roddy Piper. And like, imagine like Roddy Piper shows up, and then you have one of the new top guys in the promotion, MJF. And I'm not just making that comparison because they're both Jewish, but Linder going after, Class, and not really going after him, but like grilling him and interacting with him. It was kind of like a dream match of sorts of like WrestleMania, of like a WrestleMania level for Marked Out. Seeing the Little Rat and Class 316 kind of like locking horns. It was funny. It was. He got nowhere further than any of us has ever gotten.
That was very Class had no idea what was going on. He had no idea that's what was happening.
That what was happening?
That there was like that. That there was some kind of. How can I explain this? Like what you said a second ago, like how there was like this some kind of. I don't think he thought that it never crossed Steve's mind that like Linda was trying to get something out of him or like doing a bit or whatever. These are just the greatest hits we've heard before. You thought you thought that was a tete-a-tete between two people, because I don't think it was.
No, but I'm saying for our enjoyment, you got to see like Linder. We've never seen Linder, who's kind of obsessive about things, going after Class, who's just a walking enigma and a riddle wrapped in a riddle. It was funny for me to watch. I enjoyed it. But I mean, I don't even know if Class was aware the Sharpie Social was happening. Class is out of it by his own admission. So he wasn't.
I don't know.
Weird.
I thought he was. I thought he was. No, that's what he does. He doesn't want to talk about certain things.
But he looks
and
more
he kind of
uncomfortable now than he used to. Like he looks like he was
no,
like
no,
almost.
no, no, no. I think you're misremembering. I remember like having these conversations, and he squirms and hides and changes the subject and all that stuff. All of it. I remember
I thought
anyway. But
I might be. I thought he would like stand a little taller through it all and be like, "Oh, you'll never know." And he would just sort of change the subject, sure. But he looked like Linda was like ripping his toenails off one by one. He was like he didn't want me to record it in case people would ask him where he's from. When he used
I
to
also
almost
think
like he used to play that up.
the recording definitely creates a new element for some of this, and I do think Steve is very uncomfortable with the recording, and like so at some points I was like, all right, cut it, you know, just because it gets old hearing the same thing over and over again without anything new, you know, and that's where I guess I'm still trying to in my head navigate the benefit of recording, number one for content, number two for posterity, but at the risk of then not getting anywhere new, not covering any new ground if he's not going to speak on camera. You know what I mean?
It's true. I was glad I captured the moment when Class, by accident, drank Zach's seltzer
Oh, it was
and then
hilarious.
acted with like shock that it wasn't water, as if he like drank like battery acid. Like it should be obvious what it was. And Linder looked at Class with just absolute disgust, and it was
But
funny.
to me, that's like okay, that I don't know. I have a hard time with some of this stuff. Maybe I don't know. Like for example, you've never accidentally drank someone else's thing at the table. Who are we kidding?
I mean, I imagine Zach was being slightly shticky a little bit with it. I think Zach knows sort of how to work the camera a little bit, and I appreciate that. But at the same time, if there's one person at that table you probably don't want drinking your drink, it's the guy who sleeps in cars and washes his ass in Lowe's. He's not really he doesn't scream hygiene, so I get that you'd be a little skeeved out by it.
I don't know. That kind of stuff is like whatever. I thought the funniest thing, and I really wish we had the opportunity to go into it more. And it's my understanding that Class is willing to go into it more if we have him again on the show. Is that when he was able to successfully score with an actual chiller guest celebrity? And we're not going to go into further detail on that because I do want him to, certainly expound on that in the future. I think that's a great story. It kind of validates the lore of Steve in funny ways. But overall, I thought that the Sharpie Social was a lot of fun. I hope to see more people at the next one. I'm not sure when the next one's going to be totally candid. I don't know what it's funny because we have a calendar now and I'm like looking at it less than I should be.
Yeah.
Do you know what our next event even is?
It's going to be, I don't think we're going to do Sharpie Social Altoona. I think
that would be kind of a catastrophic waste of time.
Yeah. Ira and I will not be doing one without you at Fan Expo Philly. We're not going to be sitting at Tony Luke's doing one, so that's not happening. So
it should be though.
Yeah. Fanatics.
Yeah, so so the weekends in May I have nothing. All of May I have no events. I mean, I have that's not true. Next weekend I have 3 events, but you're not involved in any of them. The other weekends in May I have nothing. June I have nothing. When is the next event that I have? When's the next event we're doing? August?
Well, obviously Altoona, and then either Steel City or Terrificon,
which is August.
Which could mean the next 2 events we do would be driving to, Coyote's Armpit, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a little weird. About that? Not good. I still am honestly dreading Altoona. I may have to watch the 100 before then to it's like a B12 shot to try to get my excitement up here. I don't know what I'm going to do. But then if I hate it, I'm screwed. I have to hope for appendicitis or something.
The 100 is right up your alley. It's right up your alley. You'll love it. I think you really like Empire Records too, and you haven't seen that either. So
no, I really should.
You may wind up getting everyone.
Wait, you don't like Juvenile Delinquents? I'm a fan of Juvenile Delinquents. Yeah, it sounds interesting. 7.5 on IMDb for a CW show is actually a pretty glowing endorsement. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a good show. I will say this: it gets weirder as the show goes on. It's very clear they were inspired by Battlestar Galactica because it kind of has that trajectory where it starts as one kind of show, and then as it goes on, it becomes like almost like a different genre and it gets kind of more avant-garde and more strange and more postmodern, and so it's just an interesting show. It is, and it largely keeps the same core cast, which is fun. So you get to see them, grow and develop over time. I don't know. You just got to bite the bullet and watch it. Watch Empire Records. You'll like it, and you'll kind of understand the whole Rex Manning thing. And then watch Empire, and then you'll be excited for Altoona instead of being a herb about it. So instead of being excited about rocks, you can be excited about the con.
I mean, as funny as it would be for me to go to Altoona, Pennsylvania, to look for rocks on the side of the road and to take pictures with wolf cubs, it would kind of be nice to actually want some of the people that are there. So I think I will.
Just got to do it. That's it. So in any case, I believe, so I'm looking at the time here, and we haven't covered any listener questions yet, and I'm kind of concerned because I don't want to do these questions short shrift, but I also don't want to go much longer than we are now. What do you think?
I mean, I'm looking through the database now. If there's a quick fire one we could sort of do. Yeah, I'm going to make the executive decision. I'm pulling one right now from the database that's going to be a quick one. It's a good one, but it's a quick one.
And so we'll have to return those other two back to the pool.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the one I'm putting. You're going to see it right now when I hit it. All right. So Jason Joseph says, if you can combo guard it up with one person dead or alive, and I assume he means like meet, get, virtualize, someone dead or alive, who are we choosing? Who would you pick?
Now, and here's where it gets, I'm unclear. When he means combo guard it up, does he mean go combo hunting with a dead person? Or does he mean get a combo from a dead person? That's what I'm confused about.
I'm going to assume, I mean, I've never really wanted to go Broadway like stage dooring with Babe Ruth, so I'm going to assume it's not that. I'm going to interpret it as who is one person you could dead or alive, who would you pick? So let's roll with that, Jason. If that's not the question, the way you envisioned it, I mean, let us know, resubmit, whatever. But that's how we're going to handle it right now.
So go ahead.
I asked you, but I'll go ahead. Let's see. I'll go with Living, a guy I've passed on numerous times. I shouldn't say that. I just haven't had the gumption to try for. And I'm going to say Robert De Niro. His death is going to be very, very depressing for me because I'll likely never get him, and I've had chances. He filmed The Comedian. He filmed The Irishman. He lives in New York. He's not the nicest, but I mean, everyone that really tries has him. If you've tried for several years, they eventually get him. I never did. And that's a bad move, and I'll never remedy it, and that sucks. So I'm going to go with that, because the people I don't have, like a Brando who's already dead, like I'd be really a sick puppy if I was like bothered by that. Something I had no chance of having. But the thing I could have had and I just don't, that will bother me more. So good old Bobby D is my answer.
It's kind of a lame answer. I'm not gonna lie, because I think he was going for like dead. I was expecting you to say Abraham Lincoln or something. But it's really because you could do De Niro this year if you wanted to.
Therein lies the problem.
Just do it. What are you waiting for?
I probably won't.
I know. So why not though?
I don't have an answer for it. I don't know. Perhaps I will. Maybe this could be like my Rudy moment. If I overcome the odds, and by odds I mean my own procrastination and laziness, and get it done.
Okay. So for me, if I can combo it up with one person dead, I may have to choose someone dead because then it'll make it interesting. So there's two ways to go about this, I guess. One would be to repeat an experience with someone who has since died and want to have a better one than I did, or an additional one, or get someone who I've never gotten who has died. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those are two ways of taking it. Probably more interesting ways than I took it.
And so like I would love, for example, to have the opportunity for another Piper meet and greet. You know, even though I met Piper on the street that time at Nassau Coliseum, I got him twice at various cons. It was always so fun and so good that I would want more. You know,
That's a good one.
and because he was so funny and so personable and so fun that like it's a tough one. You know. On the other hand, Savage. You know, my whole wrestling fandom, my whole wrestling like collecting is tarnished by the fact that I never got Savage because he's so important to the era that was formative for me. And so I would love for the opportunity to go back and figure. I would love for the opportunity to go back and go to that stupid CD signing when he was in WCW. You know, or when he got whatever, and he was feuding with Hogan, the BMN thing, the rap CD. I would love to have done that. And I didn't do any. Or you know how many signings? Do you know how many signings he did for both WWF and WCW when he was working for both companies?
A ton.
Just BS little CD store signings. So many.
No, a ton.
So
a
many.
ton.
So those are my answers. And I if it's funny because I really didn't think I was going to go in a wrestling direction for my answers at all, but that's what I did. That's what came out. So
it's a good answer. But hearing Savage, I still would have put De Niro over Savage, which, like you said, that tells me that I really should prioritize trying to find an opportunity where there's a chance at success. I really should.
I think you have to. I think it's almost like ridiculous not to, honestly, because if it's so important to you, what the hell is the problem?
You're right. Scared money don't make money. I got to do it.
It's true. So is that a commitment?
Perhaps. No, I mean I'm gonna try to do it. Yeah, I'll be honest though. He's shifted a bit in the past. He's probably less. I've seen less successes in the last year or so than I did maybe 5 years ago. He kind of peaked, and I think he's sort of coming down again. He's not the
part of the chase is failing.
That's fair. Plus, I'm not always above crazy means. I mean, there's probably lemonade I could extract from a stone, where a less deranged person would not be able.
I concur. So that's a commitment. I don't know about you folks listening. I'm hearing a commitment.
Sure, I'll go with it.
All right. So what's coming up for us? Well, are we still doing? We're not doing it. Are you doing the Chris Childs watch party?
I should be. It's going to be this Tuesday. I don't see why I wouldn't.
I'll actually be. I'm actually going to a show on Tuesday night, so I might try and graph it a little bit. It's a very small venue. I'm seeing the band Thursday, and also their opening act is actually the lead singer from Saves the Day, which you complained about. That was the one thing I have in my living room. Well, might get some more Saves the Day graphs. So
I mean, why wouldn't you graph? You got to do it. You're there already.
It's true. So that's coming up. Fan Expo Philly. I will not be attending, but you will with Ira. So you better do a good job documenting everything with Ira, documenting all of Ira's shenanigans. Don't let him make stuff up so he's trying to hide things from his wife. Document it all.
And Ira would never hide anything from his wife.
I'm saying hypothetically, if he would, you have to make sure to document it for her benefit.
Very good. I will do it for Jen Mayo / Jen Mayo Nobler now. Jen Mayo Nobler.
Is she a hyphenated one?
I just hyphenated her. I don't think she is, but now she is.
All right, so Altoona or Josh Gates. You still doing Josh Gates?
I'm doing it, and there's still time for you to do Josh Gates. I think there may be a ticket left.
I don't even know who that is.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does. It does. We had different creatures.
I know who that is. Let's not throw me under a bus here that I don't deserve to be under. You would hate the show. That's why you shouldn't go.
What is it? What is it?
Terrible. He goes on these different things. He looks like there's episodes about like voodoo and like historical things.
I hate that stuff.
He has one vehicle that's a little bit like historic, although he makes it all like gaga'd up, and it's objectively probably stupid in a lot of ways. And he has the other one. It's like the occult, and I like them both, and you would hate them both. So not for you. Then we have Altoona, which I'm starting to just come to grips with. I have to watch those two things, and I mean, the real issue is if I hate them both. But if I like them, that'll be good. If I don't like them, then I don't really know where that leaves me, besides Wolf, Cubs, and Rocks. I still keep being tantalized by the idea that we could do it in one day. But I mean, it's, as you always say, I don't think it's really worth the risk. So that's probably just crazy.
Yeah, it's just not safe. I mean, it's just not safe. There's no way to say. I'm not like, what is there to gain from it? A little bit of money, a little bit of time, but it's not safe.
Yeah, basically.
And you do the same thing every time when we go to Steel. Also, you're like, we could have done this. We could have driven last night. But you're saying that with the benefit of having slept. If you hadn't slept, you would not say that.
And well, to be fair, I am crazy enough sometimes when I'm driving to the hotel. I'm like, we could just drive home right now. And then you tell me I would fall asleep and we would die.
Yes,
and
that's 6 hours.
I agree.
You have a kind of a consistent refrain, shall we say.
Yeah.
Fanatics, as of now, I will not be attending. You will be attending 3 of the 4 days. Sound off, people. Am I crazy for this? Or I just refuse to give them my money. Enough with the shenanigans, the outrageous pricing, the splitting people over 100 days, making it really hard to procure tickets. I'm just not interested. I'm soured. I'm not going. That's it. I'm not going. It's done.
I'm interested in the comments section. I want to see if there's fanatics haters out there that will agree with you, or if there's going to be some fans of the fanatics that are going to say that this is the can't miss event of the summer, and that you're just spitting in the face of the combo gods. Please sound off.
And so then of course we have our decision: Terrificon or Steel City. It looks like I don't know, they can go either direction. It looks like we're probably leaning towards Steel City, but that could change. I don't know what Terrificon's going to book, you know?
I would think Terrificon's close to done. I really would. I mean, it's not that big of a venue. They have a lot of guests.
I mean, yeah, but do they? I'm going to have to look at the lineup, because Steel is the same weekend and has almost no one announced, has a handful. So
yeah.
And don't forget, Terrificon has a lot of the comic guests that are in that other section. So they don't really count towards announcements, you know?
And the whole weekend is crazy. I'll be flying up Friday from Jamaica, and then I'll either be driving to Pittsburgh or going to what hell is it? Fox? Mohegan Sun. Like, either one is like kind of like nuts, but I mean, these combos won't get themselves. And you did go on record as saying, if I do Altoona, that I could phone in a favor if Steel and Terrificon are still both in the air, and I wanted to do Steel more than Terrificon. But at this point, I mean, like
I did go on that. I have no problem with that.
So it may be back-to-back Western PA trips. We have to build up our Western PA fan base so we can have poppin' socials out there.
It's true. And then of course, still the debate rages. We during our drive home from Chiller, Ted weighed in on the Simple Plan versus Keanu debate, and I guess, do you want to say where he landed? We should have pulled the table at the Sharpie Social. We didn't.
We should have. Yeah, he was on my side. He said Keanu.
Yeah. So I think my at the end of the day, I will figure out a way to get both. I know you don't believe me or think it's possible, but I think I can wrangle a way to do that.
Listen, I saw Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble attend 2 events in the same night. It can be done.
Yeah. So I think, one more time, if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, please email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out autograph collecting community on Facebook. And again, as of right now, no signings coming up, but you never know what comes our way, because we really didn't have anything, and then it's the funny thing was that at the beginning of 2025, and I can share this now, I think at the beginning of 2025, we said the same thing. We have nothing coming up, and the truth, God's honest truth, at early 2025, we had nothing. There was no plan to do. In fact, one of the things we said was maybe we shouldn't have wasted money on the signage that we bought, because we're not going to do tables anymore. and we brought more guests in 2025 than any year previously. And so I don't want to make proclamations about what the future is going to hold because we don't know what it's going to hold. Am I wrong?
I will say we do have some messages that honestly I've been procrastinating about sending out to certain talent that we are interested in on some level, and that could lead to something, that could lead to nothing. But I agree. Who knows what the future holds?
So I really hope something comes our way. Well, we'll see. So I think that's it.
This was a long one. People are going to get a couple of trips back and forth from work out of this bad boy.
Yeah, it's a lot of value for your dollar in this. A lot of value per second on this episode.
For sure.
Anything else?
I think I'm done.
All right. So for markedout.com, Marked Out Collectibles, and Marked Out Radio, I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
And we will see you next week where we will actually get to listener questions.